What's up, folks at home? I don't even really want to make this video, but I feel like there's got to be some sort of reflection that's just like neutral, honest experience on a different side of this topic. So this might be like a POA. Somebody messaged me on Instagram and said they want to see another POA, which is like the podcast of awe, which I tried to start 1,000 different times, a couple of years ago. So this is on the topic of identity and gender and naming ourselves. I've been kind of watching this channel, Odin's Men. It's this I think he was like an ex-Marine or something like that, military vibe guy, just really hardcore, like logic and reason and like just straight up matter of fact kind of shit. And he goes through, a lot of it is TikToks. Man, TikTok is a weird place. I'm not saying that this is the only thing on TikTok, obviously. It's not. There's hundreds of millions of other things on TikTok. But I just want to talk about my experience with a name that people have been calling me that I am not. That I don't really, I feel like I'm genuinely not that, what they're calling me. So, I go by Michael. You can call me bro, you can call me dude, you can call me, hey, fucking, yo, get your fucking ass over here. I don't give a fuck, But, as I've been growing up, I've always gone by Michael. I've never enjoyed Mike. I've never, it's, to me, I created this conception in my mind that Mike was an incomplete form of Michael. The actual sound of Michael has the form Mike and Michael, So I always felt like if people called me Michael, I created this whole concept in my head, this reality that is just a reality, It's not an actuality, it's just a reality. So I created this concept in my head that if people call me Mike, they don't truly see me, they don't truly know me, they don't truly respect me, they're missing something. They're missing something when they look at me and when they, interact with me. I feel like the name and the word and the ergonomics of that Mike is like really spiky and like, jagged and short and not short like physically, but just short as in like pungent and fucking smack in the face. And I've created that whole kind of reality, right? So I have been going to school, Powerline school, and the teacher asked me, what do I prefer to be called? I said, Michael. My my classmates and friends have said, what do you write on your paper? Because there's an instance where like people recognize that, I don't know, people just sense something, and eventually a good guy was like, hey, what do you, and this isn't a big deal here. This is not a big deal. I don't really give too much fucks, and I've actually learned how to experience people calling me Mike as a beautiful thing. And I'll get to that. But anyway, someone eventually just said, what do you write on your paper? What do you go by? And I said, Michael. And for some fucking reason, everybody there pretty much still calls me Mike. Unless it's to like, to reach me at a further level, they'll say Michael, to like drive a point home that they're really being attentive to something that they want to connect with me with, they'll say Michael. But so the thing that I've realized that's beautiful about Mike is it's just fucking simple. And what their intention is just to get my attention. Just say, hey Mike, what's up? Mike, come over here. That's all it is. That's all it is. They're not trying to hurt me by saying this or that. They're not You know, and when they first started calling me Mike, I was like, these guys don't respect my wishes. You know, and I felt that. I felt a little bit of that. But when I kind of just calmed down and looked at what that is actually doing, if I forget about myself, all they're doing, they're in a way just being endearing. You know, giving me a name, a nickname. Giving me a nickname is actually kind of an endearing thing. You know, it's like, what's up, bro? You know, it's like we're on a nickname basis, you know, that I know what you are, and let's just fucking go the simple way just to get the information across and go on with our day. Now, this relates to this identity crisis that's happening with people these days. And this obsession with like naming ourselves, and this obsession with ourselves, really. I mean, what it comes down to is it's like a self-obsession, and it's like, you know, all I ask is if people watch these videos, or if you just observe humans, just observe how they're actually acting, and not necessarily just the words that they're saying, not just the logic that they present, because yes, you know, sometimes they express logical things, they express reasonable things, but listen to the music of their words. You know, Jimi Hendrix always said music doesn't lie. You know, thousands of other people have said music doesn't lie, because there's a natural innate thing that we can receive, that we can be receptive to. The music of our language and how we flow with our words, you know. If you're talking about somebody who's going like this and blah, 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 that's a music that doesn't matter what you're saying. You're going 1,000 miles, going 1,000 miles an hour. Or if you have that undertone or overtone of anger, and yeah, people, it's almost like this, like, put your fist in the air and be angry and make change and all this shit. Destroy everything before you and make change or whatever. It's like I don't know. I don't think anger is the answer. And I don't think forcing people, like really getting, like, just think about this. I had the opportunity. Now this, I can only go off my experience. And it is similar. It's like, you know, changing or saying that you want to be called they, them, or Zer, or whatever the fuck. But people keep saying he or her or whatever. You know, with Mike, I had the opportunity to just be upset and be angry and be resentful of all these people around me calling me Mike. Or I could just accept it. You know, I could find a way to appreciate it. And what I did is I just relaxed over time. You know, this is over days, over weeks of working with this information. It's really all it is just information that people are presenting to you, and you're exchanging information back and forth. It has, you know, if you take it within yourself and you filter it through your reality and you make it a madness and you make it anger and you make it, you know, these people don't understand me or respect my wishes, you know, that's what you are experiencing. I think what people need to realize is they have the choice. And this is reflection from my experience, is I had the choice to be upset or just to let it be. You know, like, I generally come back and flow around to this idea that humanity and humans, I try to make them metaphors with nature and a river and a tree and a this and a that. You know, it's like if you're walking down a pathway and you're experiencing your surroundings, you're intaking information, you're relating with it, you're experiencing it, and so on. Now you have the choice to walk past a tree and be like, I fucking hate that tree, because that information, I don't like it, you know? Or you can be like, this exists, it's part of nature, should I really waste my energy, or maybe not waste, but should I really like grind my gears over something that is just present, you know, something that is existing? I myself chose relaxing that feeling of like disdain, because really when people first started calling me Mike, like I'd never go by Mike. Okay, 26 years of my life, 2 or 3 people call me Mike, and that was generally sports related, and a few people that I gave them that card because they're fucking cool. All right, I gave them that freebie, you know. Only a few people, maybe 3, maybe 5, a very small amount of people over thousands of people. And now there's everyone I surround myself with basically for 3 days out of the week call me Mike, and it's weird. It's weird, dude. And I felt really like, ugh, why you calling me Mike? Ugh, I'm not Mike. Ugh, you know? And I felt, there's this reality that I created within myself, all those concepts that I mentioned before, I felt like, oh, if people start calling me Mike, that must mean like I'm not being my fullest self, and I'm like retaining myself, and I close myself in, and I'm like, oh my God, I must be turning into a Mike. And it's like, nah, dude. No. What I've found when they say that word, it's generally to pass along information to get my attention, or it's a nickname that is an endearing thing where they're like, hey, bro, I know you. I'm just going to call you Mike. And it's like, you have the choice. I have the choice. I had the choice. And I am currently having the choice to just be cool with it. I look at some of these people. I listen to what they have to say. And it's like, would you want to hang out with these people? Like what it comes down to me is I don't care what the fuck. If you think you're a fucking alien from Zepterbeek 96, or if you think you're a fucking animal, I don't give a fuck. That's actually really interesting. But if you're not cool, like if you're not chill, if you're not relaxed, if you're not peaceful, I'm not going to want to hang around you. I'm not going to want to listen to all the beautiful things that you are, because if you're expressing it to me like a fucking diarrhea in the face, it's like, I don't want to get shit on. I don't want to get this sound that just comes out of your mouth like it's fucking diarrhea in my face. I want to be around people who are calm, or if they're like rambunctious, whatever, they're at least, they know they're self-aware enough to like be like, all right, I'm being a lot right now, I'm going to calm down. They don't have to say it, they don't have to mention it, they just do it because they are like self-aware and receptive of the group energy and things like that. So really it doesn't matter. I would actually love to meet some cool people that identify as whatever the fuck. I mean, anything. It would be really interesting. I would love to meet somebody who really truly identifies as an ant. That'd be really interesting to see where that comes from. What's the root within themselves that has grown that reality? It's really interesting. But there's, and I'm trying to be careful with painting a picture, because it can seem like with channels like this that like TikTok is just filled with this kind of shit, or like this genre is just filled with just super hardcore, like far-leaning extremists, which I guess is not becoming, it's appearing like it's not extreme anymore, because this shit just gets viewed and there's people with millions of followers and shit like that. And I don't know where I was going with that, dude. I don't have that little part right there. I don't know. But if you're not chill, man, plain and simple, like if you're at work, like there's people, I'm gonna go back to big screen here. There's people who go on TikTok, you can watch some of these videos, you'll find them, that go on and be like, I had a horrible day, I worked 12 hours and this person called me the wrong pronoun and I fucking blew up in their face. And it's like, regardless of whatever you are, you just had an explosion at work, a mental breakdown at work because of some information that somebody happened to present to you in your environment around you, and you absorbed it and you took it your way and created this whole explosive situation. That I mean, who wants to work with that? Who wants to spend a lot of time with that? I'm not trying to be hurtful. It's just like, I mean, that's not a, like, you gotta, it's hard to say because, like, I feel like everything I'm about to say here is just, people could get upset at it, but it's like, people are, like, some of these people are really soft and have, like, no fucking, like, malleability. Like, it's a weird, there's this weird dichotomy that's happening within them. There's this weird, like, oxymoron where, and I don't know exactly how to express this yet, but it's like some people think that identity shouldn't matter, it should be fluid, you can do whatever you want, and then they focus so intensely on identity that they'll get upset and blow up at work. And it's like, there's something there. I don't know how to express that quite, clearly, but there's something there. There's something not quite right. Like, some people will say that there's no such thing as male and female. Like, you're not born male or female. There's just no such thing. It's based on, like, how you feel or something like that. Then why does it matter so much? It's like, if it doesn't exist, and again, I don't know how to quite say this, but, like, if it doesn't exist, why are you making it exist so fucking hardcore? It's like, if a person who's born with a vagina is not a woman, then why do you care what the fuck you are? Like, you know what I mean? I don't quite know how to express that, but there's something oxymoronic about this. There's something that this foundation that they're presenting, there's, like, holes and cracks in it, and someone's gonna throw something that makes sense at it, and it's just gonna be like crumble. And part of the reason I want to mention this is because, like, President Biden, I don't even want to call him a president, dude. Not because I'm like, we need change, but, like, dude, the dude has slip ups like every other conversation, it seems like. Anyways, but this I think goes by a lady, but is a trans woman, so still has a cock right now. Is probably gonna have bottom surgery sometime. I like being a little crazy by saying it's a cock. Biden fucking met with this person here. This lady here. And, like, it appears like there's some sort of agenda that is not backed by, like, really strong foundations. Like, it's just some, like chuck a fucking boomerang and see where it lands kind of fucking thing. That's why I kind of feel like I have to put my 2 cents in, because there's some people out there who are in our school system teaching our children and influencing our children and there's people in our medical system that can allow children to not tell their parents, but to get certain kind of treatments for altering their gender. And to me, it's like, if you're going to have a rule that you can't drink until you're 21 because your mind isn't developed, that your brain isn't developed, and that you could potentially harm yourself by consuming something, you could potentially alter yourself before you actually are grown up. If that is present, how can anyone think that taking, hormone blockers or hormone enticers or whatever, like taking testosterone or something, how can you advocate for permanent change in a child? Like, people who are not even 21. It seems really, like, it kind of hurts a little bit. It kind of feels like a disease, like, kind of feels like a sickness when I even talk about this. Like, I learned, like, I thought I had the fucking world understood when I was 15 years old. Like, I'll go through the timeline. When I was about 11 to 13, I started, like, realizing that I was, like, a self. Like, I had a self. Like, before I was kind of just, like, and then I was like, oh, wait a second. Like, I'm actually, like, a creature with this sort of stuff going on. Like, I could recognize, like, my own uniqueness. And then, grow a few years and you're like, oh, I'm starting to get this shit down. I know who the fuck I am. I understand the world. Grow a couple more years. You go through trials and tribulations. You fucking have a breakup and this and that. You heal. And then you think you know the world again. And then you go through your early 20s and you start thinking things more long term and you start growing the fuck up and you start, thinking things long term because you're going to be stuck with this fucking body. Like once you hit 25 to 30, that's what you got. That's kind of what you got. You can grow your skills, but physically speaking, it's kind of like that's what you got. And you grow to accept yourself. I think that should be like a fundamental thing. Before you alter yourself, I think you should accept yourself. And that's something that I've always thought is so sad. Like, I'm kind of a purist, and I'll name plate myself. I'm a purist. I generally, I think girls, speaking about the people I'm attracted to, women, I think they're the most beautiful, just like undone up, but still beautiful. Like, they have those thick eyelashes without fucking fake eyelashes, like just beautiful without having to do anything. They don't have any tattoos because their skin is so beautiful and soft and luscious and nurturing and all this shit, right? It's so sad to me when there's people out there, everybody out there could be so beautiful just as they are. And then they, like, some people, and I know that this is a really loaded kind of topic and everything, and then they go on and like cover up their whole body, their whole arms with tattoos. And I know some people are into it, and I have friends who would do that, and that's beautiful. I think it's really cool in some way, Like, if that's who you are, if that's who you want to be, then fucking do it. But there's some people who don't know who they are or what they want to be or what they want to do in life, and they make these permanent changes to themselves when there's still so much more growing up to do. And that is pretty sad, it's pretty sad. So I just wanted to make this video just to make a fucking video, because I haven't done this shit in 20 fucking years, it feels like. So to share my experiences with being called Mike, with being called something that I totally did not identify with, but now it's all right because I'm fucking chill, and I just found the beauty in it. I decided for myself to choose what is beautiful about that and fucking go with it. And now that is a reality. You could call it an impure reality. You could call it false. You could call it partial. You could call it unholy. Sure, it might be. Because actuality is all things. Reality is what's real to us. Those are two very different things, and I think people really need to fucking understand that. I think a lot of this shit would be different if people would separate a little bit what actuality actually is and what reality is. And I think, just to go tangent a little bit, it's difficult to understand what actuality is because we only have our reality. We only have our senses. We only have a very limited view upon what actuality is. So when we think of actuality, we tend to be like, it's one and the same with reality. But what actuality is so much more that you can't even possibly know it. So you have to maintain an open-mindedness. You have to maintain the statement within your mind, I don't know. Actuality involves, I don't know. And if people were okay with that, I feel like we would just be so much more relaxed. If people were okay with not knowing and having and understanding that actuality involves so much more than they know, that some of this shit just wouldn't be that big of a deal. And it is trippy sometimes. Like a couple days ago, I got I don't know what it was, dude, but I didn't feel like I was that high with weed, and I didn't feel like I was that tipsy with alcohol, but for some fucking reason I was going down this rabbit hole of like really seeing the structure of reality within myself and like breaking it down and realizing what's underneath it, which is just like a void of I don't know, which is just a void of like holy shit, we're all creating this fucking like we're all creating I know this, 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 like reality, 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 reality. And it can get kind of trippy. Take a fucking deep breath. Let me tell you, because I felt like sometimes concern is okay. Like sometimes concern is okay. And a couple of days ago, I was concerned like, holy shit, man! If I lived like if I thought about that a lot, I would probably go insane. It's a little spooky. I mean, life is really fucking spooky sometimes when you decide to think of it that way. And I think the conclusion to this is we all have a choice. If you are angry, let me just ask you this. Do you want to be angry? I mean, that is your choice. Information around us is going to exist no matter what the fuck you're doing, no matter where you're at. Are you going to choose to interpret that information in a way that is peaceful, calm, one that you can negotiate with, or do you want to choose madness and all these other sorts of things that feel really intense? Being intense is okay, but I'm just asking you, no judgment of anything is good or bad. Are you enjoying that feeling? And just forget the ego for a second. Just focus on the feeling. Forget the fact that you're a fucking warrior and that you're doing great things to make change in this world. Forget about that. The feelings that you are having from day to day, from moment to moment when you're talking about this shit, this and that. Forget the information, forget the ego, forget yourself, forget other people. Do you enjoy the feeling that you're having? If you do, I guess, whatever. Keep going for it. If you don't, just understand that what you are experiencing is your choice. Suffering is genuinely a choice. Pain exists. Pain is part of life. Challenges happen. Difficulties are presented to us. But struggling our way through it, moping about, recycling thought within our minds and being hurt over and over by our own mind, hurt and hurt and hurt and hurt, suffering, that's our own responsibility. You have that choice. You have that choice to grow yourself in a way where you can enjoy the space around you. I've working at Jimmy John's, there's been some really, shall we say, some fuck sticks, some fuckheads, some shit stains of fucking human beings. But I don't like being upset. So I just choose not to be upset at them. I have this thought that people are genuinely trying to do their best most of the time. And even when they say, oh, I don't give a fuck, I'm not doing that, I still think they're doing their best. Because some reason, some way, some experience in their life has, influenced them to be that way. But I still think that they're doing their best, and it is what it is. I don't want to be upset, so I'm not going to fucking be upset. Sometimes, yeah, I get a little overflowy, and I'm like... And it might take me, 20 minutes to fucking calm the fuck down. Sometimes it takes me 5 hours to, go through myself and realize what the roots of things are within myself to be able to be like, oh, all right, that's okay. I'm okay with that. And that's what that meant to me. Oh, I get it now. Okay. But in the meantime, if I am feeling like that for a few hours, I don't fucking go and spread my own issues on other people, I'll just be silent, man. That's plenty fine, man. So, and I think if people say like, "Oh, being called Mike isn't the same thing as your identity," and you know what? I mean, it kind of is. I created a reality within myself that Michael was this absolutely beautiful fucking thing. Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, Michael fucking Mike Tyson, whatever. I don't know. Maybe his name is Mike actually, and it's not Michael. I don't know. You know, you get it. There's a lot of fucking badass people named Michael, and you know, I kind of look at myself very highly, and when somebody called me this thing that I felt was kind of gross and sharp, and I'm a very like I'm powerful, but I'm a really soft and sweet dude. I'm a gentleman, a gentleman, and so that Mike just sounds like I'm stabbing someone in the face, like Mike, you know, Mike, and I guess this is a microphone. That's kind of cool. See, hey, look it. I just kind of reorganized myself a little bit there. We all have that opportunity to see things differently. Okay, there's an example. Anyways, point being is that my identity, people were calling me something that I felt I was absolutely not. Even my teacher, and I told my teacher, "Hey, bro," not directly, because just at the beginning of the class, he's like, "Do you prefer to go by Mike or Michael?" I'm like, "Michael." All right. And then just proceeds to call me Mike the whole time. Like, bro, do you have amnesia or something like that? And again, I don't know if I said this all the way, but my classmates and I play quite a bit of pool, and we're just shooting the shit. And eventually, it came up like, "Do you like being called Mike?" And like, "What do you write in your paper?" I said that, you know, and I said Michael, and for some reason, they still call me Mike. And so, what that makes me feel like is like it's, and I've kind of chosen to see this way. You know, here's, I'll mention something in a second, but I've realized that it's like actually really endearing. You know, they can call me something that I don't identify as. I'm cool with it, and then they kind of have this reciprocal effect of like, "Oh, this guy's cool. We can be open with him. We can be friendly with him because he doesn't take shit too seriously." You know, and then there's this friendly connection, and it's just all good, happy go lucky. Let's fucking do this. You know, I think some people, this is what I was going to mention, is some people like want to be responsible for other people. You know, they'll like be like, "Oh, this person isn't respectful because they're calling me by a name that I am not." Like they're choosing, like this person that feels hurt from this is choosing that, "Oh, I know this person. They're disrespectful. They're a person who's disrespectful," as if you know anything about how their fucking day-to-day mind works and how they feel throughout the day. Like it's almost as if there's this projection of like, I want to fix this person. You know, they are disrespectful and they don't understand, and they should be more awake, and they should have their eyes wide open. They should be fucking open-minded. And it's like, what you're really doing is either you're trying to change somebody. That's not your responsibility, first of all. You can help as best as you can, but to actively like be a force of an attack, like it's not gonna work. But also, it's just silly, man. Like to think that you know what their intention is behind calling you he or she when you really go by they them. Like to think that you actually know what their intention is it's a sickness. I mean, it leads to just being feeling hurt, you know, to just constantly think like, "Oh, this person's evil," you know, rooting everything from evil. They fucking think I'm weird. They think I'm gross. They are calling me by what I don't want to be called by because this, this, and that, which is just their own thought. It's not, they're not having that conversation with the person, you know. Maybe that would help. Like have a conversation like, "Hey man, why don't you call me that?" And have like an actual like calm, like a chill conversation about it, you know? Like if you can't have a peaceful conversation about something that really matters a lot to you, like it would be so difficult. Like I used to get so over overburdened by emotion. Like when I was really young, I felt what rage felt like. I felt uncontrollable rage before, which coincidentally happened with my brother, who was 7.5 years older than me. He could fucking hold me down and this and that. And every now and again, I'd be like, stop that fucking shit, bro. I'm going to freak the fuck out. And I fucking did. And I like literally lost control of my mind and everything. And I just fucking beat the fuck out of them, you know? As best as I could as like a 10-year-old when he's fucking 17 or 16 and I'm 9, you know? Like, I would lose control. And I realized at that point, like, I don't ever want to feel out of control like that. And so I just hope for these people who are going through these difficult times to have some reflection and be, you know, how do you want to have the conversation? Do you want to feel like you're being attacked all the time? Because I think people are generally nice people. Most people in the world are generally like good-hearted, well-intentioned people. And also, like, if they're having a rough day, you can't expect them to be like really jolly with you. You know, we all have bad days, we all have this or that, and sometimes events converge where, you know, your 12-hour shift and getting overworked combines with their bad day because their girlfriend's being left them or whatever, and that converges. You know, you got to give people the benefit of the doubt. That's where actuality comes in. That's where the phrase "I don't know" and I'm okay with it can be very valuable, instead of just being, I know for goddamn well that this person's an evil piece of shit, and I know that they're just an evil piece of shit. I'm not going to give them any benefit of the doubt, you know, this and that. You know, do you want to have a conversation where you feel that rage? I don't think people do. I think people would rather have a conversation that's calm, constructive, valuable, something that you can really see clearly, instead of something that is just absolutely tsunamied away by emotion. Just too much of it sometimes, you know, like where you can't even think straight. You're just, you know? I think people would rather have a calm conversation. So, you know, for these people who have difficulty with that, and I have in the past, is what I've done to help with that is I've had to work through it myself. I spent a solid few years meditating every single gosh darn night and, you know, reliving the day and working through it, and I would fall asleep at peace. I would work through all that fucking baggage and shit. I would sort it out, figure out ways to understand it in ways that I preferred, which is generally just to be at peace, because I want to go to bed at peace. You know, I want to feel, I can just, everything's okay. That's all right, man. It's all good. It's all good. You know, that's how I want to fall asleep, right? That's what I did. I hope y'all watching this, if you have troubles with that, you know, work with it. You got to ask the question. You really got to ask yourself the question. Why is it that I feel this way? Or what could be the root to this? You know, you can't just be afraid of it. Shit's scary. It really is. Diving into yourself can be frightening because you might find something that could be embarrassing about yourself that's like, oh my God, I'm a fucking idiot. You know, like you might find that about yourself. But the thing is, when you realize that thing, that, I just realized that thing about myself. You dove really deep into that spooky crack of yourself. You'll realize that when you actually see what it is, when you actually see the root, you don't have to keep living that over and over and over again. You can actually have that within your mind, that pathway to the root. Recognize you'll have that practice within yourself. Practice. You'll have that action, the ability to act, and be able to connect with the roots of things so that, you know, you can really sort the shit out. You've come to the root, and then you can sort all this other shit out, you know? And the beautiful thing is, when you really see that root, you don't feel like it's, like you don't feel powerless anymore. You don't feel powerless to that emotion. You actually feel like, oh, I can actually understand what that is. And then you have the ability, you have the power, so to speak, to move with it, you know? To make change. Like, that's a loaded phrase these days, but to really make change for yourself. So anyways, I think that's it. This has been let's just call it a podcast of awe. Because, oh man, this shit is fucking goofy. Anyways, yeah. Hope you all enjoyed it. Some fucking philosophy shit, some this and that, you know. Yeah, if you want to chat in any way or this or that, or see my power line schooling, I'm like kind of keeping memories on there for myself and just to show you guys, because I'm genuinely enjoying it, and it's changing me in a way that I love. What is this? Is that a mole? Or is that a pimple? That appears to be a mole. That seems to be new. I don't know if I've ever seen it like that before. I should keep an eye on that. Anyways, yeah, I've been really enjoying school. I mean, I got like 55 to 60 hours of commitments every week, 7 days a week. School for 3 days a week, work 4 days a week, and I'm basically only taking off like when there's vacations and it takes off school, then maybe I'll take a day off, you know. But yeah, it's I've learned a lot. I appreciate so much more about life, and I feel even stronger than I've ever been, and I feel even more able than I've ever been. I feel like it's transforming my guitar practice and my guitar playing, and I really appreciate a little bit of self-hype. Like, I really appreciate my bravery in stepping in this direction and just trusting that, hey, I feel like this is the way I got to go, and I'd never done this shit before, but I'm going to go for it. And I appreciate that bravery that I've had, you know. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Anyways. Okay. Yeah. If y'all have any thoughts on this, let's keep it calm, please. Let's keep it calm, god damn it! No, for real. If y'all have any thoughts about this, like, can we just please keep it constructive and really be self-aware about what the root of it is that you have, why you have that thought, why you have that feeling, this and that. And if you really want to make a judgment about me, watch the whole video, and also realize that this video is 40 minutes of my life, and I've lived how many minutes? How many minutes of my life have you experienced? Have you listened to? Have you watched? A fucking tiny little sliver of it. So by golly jeepers, you don't really know me that well. Sure, you can hear the music of my language and probably get a decent representation of it within your mind, but just calm down. It's all right. This is just information. This is just my experience. This is what I've learned. This is how I've been able to appreciate an identity, a word, a thing that was given to me that I totally felt disdain against, and I felt was distasteful, and I felt was gross, but I've come to appreciate and see as an endearing, loving, and effective term. So with that, I will see you all in the next one. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, not to sound like a fucking cringe YouTuber, but if you did appreciate this, or, you know, enjoy this video, do hit that thumbs up, just so I can like see like the ratio of like, oh, this person, you know, this and that. And if not, you didn't fucking watch this ending, so I don't give a fuck. I'm just joking. Leave a comment down below, subscribe, like.